Hey friends, checking in again with our Hearts of Iron 3 playthrough. It's February 1938. We're continuing with our buildup. About a year and a half from now, we're going to be starting World War II. So let's get back into the action here. We were able to get our first Panzer division out. Got some great practical from that, and we got another 4 in production. We'll add another corps at least. Hopefully get those done before 1939. We also need to include these in our command structure. We haven't been able to do that yet, but shortly. Czech Republic seems to have stabilized around 7% popularity with that. Austria is at 25%, so we should be able to do the Anschluss any moment now, if not already. Yeah, we can. Alright, so let's get our zinc mines online, and we'll trigger the Anschluss. Alright, so this gives us this historic event here. The two Anschluss are not. Annexing Austria before the historical date of 1938 will have its drawbacks. In 1936, the Austrian economy was in crisis. Industry was suffering, and there remained much work to do to get the nation back on track. In 1937 and again in 1938, events trigger where IC coal mines, steel refineries, and armaments factories come online. So we're going to go ahead. Annexation. In February 1938, Hitler invited the Austrian Chancellor to Berchtesgaden, which is right here. Hitler demanded concessions for the Nazi Party. The Chancellor refused. Basically took over on the 13th of March, so we're about a month early. We're going to keep the manpower. I don't really want the Austrian divisions. They're not very good. Germany annexes Austria, and we'll probably see that just by doing that, we're going to have gained a bunch of threat to everybody, at least in Europe. So probably have to wait for a day to pass before that'll happen. So we gained a bunch of cool new resources. So Linz has factories, Salzburg has factories, and coal. Innsbruck has a bunch of coal and factories, along with some steel refineries. Klagenfurt gives us energy along with hospital. Graz gives us coal, steel, and factories along with another hospital. And then Vienna gives us all of the above: fuel, coal, factories, metal, and rare materials. So that's going to be help. So we're now much larger already. Okay, tactical air support advance, air liaison advance. We did get some descent, which should start going down right away, but we're not going to be producing much while we fix this through an overproduction of consumer goods. Decryption machine, close air support, great. I think we got some inefficiencies here. So decryption machine is 1940 now. Okay, we're gaining a lot of effects of all these extra factories that we gained. Looks like we got some research efficiency out of gaining Austria. Okay, we're still producing consumer goods. Okay, things are back. Military rations increase to 1940 spec. That's great. Ammunition and additional supply. Okay, let's check our decisions again. We can now trigger the Treaty of Munich. Let's check that out. Summer of 1938, we can trigger it now because Czech Republic is too weak. Basically, we annexed the Sudetenland, which gives us metal and rares from Ostrava. And then I think we also gained a uranium supply right off the bat. So that's huge. Czech Republic is now severely weakened. We'll be able to fully annex them in a few months. First Vienna Award, maybe in October, perhaps earlier. We gained some Sudeten volunteers. I usually just disband this division. It's not worth the time upgrading it. Got some more dissent from that integration. It should be gone now. Okay, road network. Okay, road network level 3. Yeah, our Panzer divisions still need a bunch of research. They're not very good right now. Okay, light cruiser. Once we get armament thickness and light cruiser class 1, I think we'll upgrade our light cruisers. Okay, new ambassador to Japan, Eugen Ott. His main goal is to strengthen relations between the two countries. Third Moscow show trial. Trotskyites and rightists are all killed. Cool, okay. Light cruisers are basically done. Okay, we gain another SS regiment, partly from the Austrian annexation. Let's get rid of that. Okay, our second Panzer division's coming out any moment now. Okay, we gained a bunch of industrial technologies. Let's go to industry. Okay, that's 1941. That's great. Export of zinc, of course, we want the money. Okay, second Panzer division is done. We'll put them in Potsdam as well. And we will assign von Hubicki as commander. Cool. Okay, so we have 3 corps of infantry. We need 1 more to complete that. That's 5. And then we have 10 in production for Army, 4th Army. We need at least 10 more to complete everything except for East Prussia. We got practical builds up still. I might have to refresh those soon. And our factories are almost complete fully, so we won't have to worry about that anymore. Tank radio communication, that's great. Movement speed. Oh gosh, okay, so the Nanking massacre just occurred in China, and which makes sense. You can see almost all of eastern China is conquered, although they're not doing very well in Shanxi, which is usually is the reverse of this. They'll actually conquer this earlier and then maybe not this in most of my playthroughs. But China hasn't completely collapsed either. I mean, they still have their capital at Chongqing. They still have Chengdi, Changsha. It looks like they recently lost Nanchang and Wuhan. They still have Huangzhou and Guilin and Xi'an, and the communists have Yan'an still. So yeah, Japan's still got a way to go. Okay, let's just check our practical real quick. It's about stable. Yeah, our motorized is maybe a little bit higher. Kind of was hoping our practicals would increase faster than this, but I mean, we already have a 500,000 strong army from nothing, so that's not too bad. So these mobile command and control and armor command and control things just give morale bonuses, which does matter quite a bit. And then this coordination one gives movement bonuses. So let's go check that out in operating. We're ahead on a lot of these now. I'm going to turn off the 1939s and enable the 1938s and the 1936s. I think I might have shut down the order on that one. Recon. Okay, that's turned off. So our operational doctrines are super up to date, which is great. I think anti-tank just finished. High density alloys is available now. Let's move that up to the top. Okay, there's our light cruiser. So I don't think we're going to invest any more into light cruisers technologically now. Oh, armament's still way behind, isn't it? Let's see how long this takes to research. August. Yeah, we'll wait. Actually, just a bit longer. The guns are still behind. And then heavy cruisers still working on that. Gunnery, ammunition, and horizontal protection. Our big batch of infantry is going to be coming out this summer. And then the first Panzer Corps is going to be done by June 10th. We're almost at 300 IC now. I'd like it to be right around 400 by the time we attack France. We'll get some of that by finishing the Czech Republic, and then some of it by conquering Poland. I think it should be right around 400 at that point. Radar station's huge because that helps us with air intercepts and air battles through the radar bonus. So I'm going to throw in 2 radar stations in Dortmund, 2 in Cologne, 2 in Hanover, 2 in Wilhelmshaven, 2 in Kiel. Let's put 2 in Stuttgart. And we'll do 2 in Berlin. That's a good starting place. We'll see that the radar stations have pretty high IC costs, but they build fast, and I'll probably be moving them down in the order as the need arises, because our units take higher priority. Okay, 3rd Panzer Division's done. We'll give it to Rendulic. They still don't have a corps to be attached to yet. Okay, we just finished a fighter. And we finished our fighter prototype advance, so let's see what that gives us in terms of version of the BF-109. Okay, so we went from the D model to the B model. B is in Bravo, to the D is in Delta model. It's not a significant improvement. I think it adds like engagement range and other things like that. Artillery brigades, it's always good, and cruiser fire control computer. So let's get this fighter added down here. And our bomber build is done now too. So we'll add another batch of medium bombers at the top. Okay, we have 2 full medium bomber groups now. That's a good starting position. That's going to be our strategic bomber force, maybe a little bit larger than that by the time the war starts. We still need to make Stukas and other ground attack role planes. Direct unit training, cruiser light artillery. Let's see. Light anti-air artillery. Okay, that's over here, 1941. Great. Okay, one other thing I noticed is that our officer ratio has started to drop. We were at 105% most of the time up until now. I'm going to bump up officer training to 5.0. Espionage should be good at 5. And then we have plenty of diplomacy points without even using IC for it. Steel armor casting capability. Okay, those are done. We did also upgrade our artillery, so right now we're at 7.5 centimeter field guns. If we check our RD brigades, we are now at 7.5 centimeter FK38s. So these are definitely better guns than these. Shaanxi annexed. Okay, so wow. So China's counterattacking to the point that they basically reconquered the Japanese puppet state. And you'll also notice, I mean, yes, there's seaports over here, but their connection to Manchuria is very narrow. China controls 1 space away from Beijing currently. I bet Japan will probably conquer these pretty quick, because that was just a surrender, but this part is still unconquered. If I stay here, you'll see that these will switch to Japan pretty quick. Okay, Welly Messerschmitt, genius, great. Research Center expansion. Okay, so the Red Navy has been purged. 8 of 9 admirals. Supply transportation, this is one of the most important technologies in the game because it reduces supply transfer costs by a flat -0.2 for every province, and then adds additional transport bonuses. And then we also gain supply throughput by 40%. So those are both in national. So those are up to 1940 spec. Yeah, I was expecting Japan to reconquer these faster than they are. They must be pretty weak up there. They're doing very strong down south, though. It's pretty curious. The Sino-Japanese War is just, every time I play Germany or any other game that's not Japan, the outcome is so variable, it's hard to know what'll happen. Let's add agriculture and industry in 1938. Just get our technology cleaned up here. Heavy AA guns and armored fighting vehicle weapons. Let's do that. Heavy artillery brigades. Armor is inefficient. And so is diesel engines and AVFV tracks. So what's our hang up? Okay, well, we can do light armor designs. We're not using too much light armor right now, but it benefits. Well, actually, I think in previous versions of Vice, it also benefited motorized infantry, but it looks like it's just light armor now. I'm still going to do it because it's not a whole lot of extra, and it gives us some technology practical to research it, so it's not a big loss. Okay, there's another Panzer division, 4th Panzer. We'll give this to von Arnim. Oh, and we can research. So we need to at least do range finding, barrel, and carriage 39 before self-propelled unlocks. So we'll get that started maybe in a couple months. just to get a head start on it. I want all my Panzer divisions to have self-propelled artillery before we go to war. Cruisers. Okay, we're really making progress on these cruiser technologies. I want to unlock both of these before I build upgrades or new ships. Okay, so here's our armored headquarters. So let's get our first Panzer Corps set up here. So we gain 2 Panzer headquarters for a loss of 500 manpower, and they spawn right here. And we can see that they come with an armored car battalion right off the bat. We'll give this first corps to Guderian. And then we need to assign these divisions to the corps. Great. Okay, so they're starting to get organized. We need one more level of armored command before we can get an army group, army level HQ. So let's put that to the top of our tech priority. Brigade command structure, division, and corps. I believe those were all from the Blitzkrieg tree. And then welded plate armor construction. So there's our medium armor designs. So let's get that started immediately. We'll check armor 2, and we can see that that's now inefficient, so turn that off. There's our ship high explosive ammunition and transport ship hull. So turn that off. We need to build some more transport ships, at least 2 more, before we attack Poland, so that I can start moving units to East Prussia. Okay, we got 1 more Panzer division coming out in this order. We're still losing tank practical. I guess it's just because we're not building them fast enough. But our motorized practical is increasing. It's kind of interesting. Twin engine fighters, we are going to be building those, but not right away. Let's get this large caliber machine cannons and machine gun focus added. And then gun turrets and ammunition capacity. That'll help all of our planes, along with this gun position upgrade for our medium bombers. Let's just check avionics. Bombing site needs to be upgraded, along with self-sealing fuel tanks and supercharger. Let's add 1,000 kilogram bombs and aerial mines, and we'll hold off on air torpedoes because we don't have any naval bombers or flying boats yet. Okay, we're at 301 IC. Let's check. I'm curious if we can start any orders on mountain infantry, and we still don't seem to be able to. And I'm really curious why that is. I hope I didn't screw up a decision. Oh, yeah, I'm dumb. So there's a mountain infantry activation trait. For some reason, I thought Germany started with this. Maybe that changed. Let's just get to that to the top. We're a little bit behind now on building some mountain divisions, but they're not going to be really necessary until we start the Scandinavian campaign, so we'll have time to catch up on that. Okay, small arms, that's always good. Let's turn some of these technologies off. Great. We still need bulkhead layout, horizontal and vertical protection, and hull shape optimization before we can get these both unlocked. Heavy armor designs, great. So that's still, I believe, the same practical as any other kind of armor. So we're gaining practical from medium tanks that we can eventually use for heavy armor. Heavy armor is pretty niche, especially in BICE. And at this stage of the war, I don't really have a huge need for it. They become very handy in like set piece battles like Kursk and other tanked battles that we're going to be fighting the Soviets with as sort of a breakthrough division, because they have very high armor and piercing and hard attack. And they have a habit of cutting through Soviet tank divisions like butter, but they're very, very expensive to build, and they're very logistically challenging to maintain in the field. So we're going to always have limited amounts, and it's a little bit early to be building them anyway. It's more important to me to get my base divisions done before we focus on heavy tanks. Okay, we just gained land power. Oh, sorry, we actually downgraded. So this is a relative thing, so it's not just how many divisions we have, it's a relative to other nations. So we've lost regional and we've gained just normal land power. I might actually have that reversed. It's possible that regular land power is better than regional. Anyway, it's not a hugely significant impact on the game. It's more for RP value. Okay, transport engines. Oh, a bunch of things just triggered. Wow. Low popularity, very low popularity. Okay. Italy launches two battleships. Okay. We want to expand our automotive factories and heavy industry in Dessau. And we gain a tank factory in Dessau. How nice is that? Let's see where Dessau is. Okay, it's near Berlin. All right, so we gained some nice factories for that stuff. Okay, small arms and infantry guns are 1940 spec now. That's good. Cruiser, let's turn off the 1941 research. Okay, our last Panzer division from the First Order is done. Let's get it attached. These guys will be von Weichs. All right, so we got some radar stations currently in production. I'm going to add, we're a little bit behind on fighters, so I'm going to add an order of 4 of those. I'm not going to add any more medium bombers right now, and then I'm going to add another order of submarine. And then I'm going to bump down the radar because they're less crucial. Okay, anti-tank and infantry support, cool. Along with cruiser vertical protection. Okay, so it's just bulkheads and optimization now before we can move on. We also gained some new infantry technologies because we finished the weapons technologies for 1938, which is the standard and the light infantry upgrades, which are, we of course, what we're going to do. Let's move those to the top. Oh, this got bumped down. Let's get that to 5. So you can lock these amounts into place by right-clicking on the slider, and it turns it gray. So that won't move now. We also have more spies than we need, so I'm going to bump this down to 0 for now, actually, along with diplomacy. Okay. Okay, one more corps of infantry is about to come out. Our infantry practical is decayed slightly. That's normal. It's been a bit since we produced one. Okay, we got some large caliber machine cannons done. And machine gun focus. I think that's under armament. And there's nothing else we can add right away, I don't think. Theoretical jet engines, 1939. Oh yeah, okay. Let's get these new airframe and engine research going. Okay, Dominican Republic wants to produce BF-109s. Absolutely not. Okay, 36th Infantry Division is now out. And let's get a new corps started. This will be 8th Corps. Great. Okay, so we've got the approaches to Berlin covered now. This bend in the river has a name strategically, and I can't remember what it is right now. Something triangle. But we're going to be attacking, so it's not really important strategically. But you can see that there's a fortresses built here, and that's for a reason. If we end up losing to the Soviets pretty hardcore, this is the Oder River right here, so we're, years from now, and hopefully it doesn't happen at all, we're going to need to think about this as a defensive feature. Okay, lots of infantry divisions coming out now. I usually save the generals that have the winter specialist bonus for my mountain divisions because they'll be fighting in mountain and Arctic conditions, and that just gives a reduction in attrition along with a speed bonus in Arctic terrain. There's also this mountaineer one, which is a similar effect, but for mountains, except that there's no attrition value. We'll be using those guys for those kinds of divisions. Like Dietl, this guy's a famous Gerbigsjäger general, and he has basically both benefits. So let's just get these regular infantry divisions assigned. Okay, so infantry divisions take a lot of officers to properly command and control, so we're down to a substandard ratio. Let's just kick this up to 10 temporarily. It doesn't need to stay there. Sorry about that phone call. Anyway, third army is now done. We got 4 component corps underneath the army. You can technically do up to 5 corps. I like to leave a blank corps spot because that allows us to reassign in battle since the army command is not maxed out. That'll become a little bit clearer later. But you can see our order of battle now for this Pomeranian group of forces. Let's add, so this is 5, 10. So that's all 4th Army. Let's get another corps of armor started. And unfortunately, it didn't seem to save my template. I might have just forgotten to save it. So let's just remind ourselves how we're building these RD, tank destroyer, motorized engineer. Okay, so let's go regular RD, tank destroyer. Oh, did I forget a recon element? Am I that stupid? Yeah, I did. Wow. These really need a recon element, and I think I need to remove the tank destroyers. Yeah, I kind of do. That's a bummer. I guess I'll put the tank destroyers in motorized divisions so that won't be a waste. So let's pull these tank destroyers out. A recon element's mandatory, so this is something I have to do. So you can see what I'm doing here. You can click this right arrow and it removes the regiment that you clicked from the division. And then we get a bunch of just brigade units on the map that we can assign to other divisions later. So let's pull that out. Okay. These guys will go in our first motorized corps, which isn't probably going to be ready until after Poland, but that's okay. They can sit over there. Let's get started on 5 armored car brigades. Great. And these will be retrained as to self-propelled. Cool. Okay. And then let's actually fix the rest of our divisions. So no longer tank destroyer, motorized engineer, and armored car. And then we'll do 5 of those. Perfect. And let's bump down some of these radar stations. It's not, actually we'll just do all of them. Again, it's not a priority compared to getting the rest of these things done. You can see how fast individual brigades produce since it's not an entire division. Close air support. So we don't have any close air support that we've built anyway yet, but we can see we're now up to the Ju-87A2 version. And if I go up to our stack of planes here, I can see that we do have 2 units of close air support. Okay, well, first of all, I'm not ready to move all this stuff out yet, but I am going to move out the transport planes because I want them to start upgrading. So this will be our first transport group. We'll give since they're not going to be in combat too much, we'll just give them a low-ranking general. And we will need to build one more. I think we need at least 4 of these to transport paratrooper divisions. So let's get 1 transport plane thrown in, and that'll give us medium bomber practical, which will help us with other kinds of medium aircraft. You can see they're upgrading now. Okay, cruiser bulkheads. I think that was the last. Nope, still not the last. It's hull shape optimization. How soon are we done with that? Oh man, it's still not done. Okay, whole another corps of infantry. So let's get 4th Army started here. So this will be the first divisions of that army. And they will be in Silesia, which is this section of Germany. Okay, let's get these divisions renamed. And this will be 9th Corps. Let's get Rhino. I think we need to assign these generals too before it'll be a fair comparison. And let's give them any level 3 general have doesn't matter the bonus. Infantry divisions have a habit of, well, I mean, defensive doctrine's always great because we're mostly using our infantry divisions to hold territory that's already been captured. But any will do. I just want to save those special ones like Winter Specialist. I also usually leave these battle expert ones for my motor ones, but to me, it could be totally valid for infantry divisions too. These guys are, this is a Luftwaffe general, so is that. We'll just give them Hartmann. I might assign these Fortress Buster guys to divisions specifically for that purpose later, but they can get some experience as infantry generals for the moment. So anyway, 41st Division consumes, let's just actually let them sit for a second and let's see if that makes a, we also have to assign this to an army. Oh, we haven't made 4th Army yet. Actually, we need to finish the whole order of battle before we can show the supply difference, so let's do that. We'll give 4th Army to Heinrici. And we'll base them in Breslau. Okay, that division's out of supply. That's what this little red corner of the tile means. Truck and prime mover is available now. Okay, they're in supply. Great. Okay, so 41st Infantry Division uses 3.95 supplies every day and no fuel because it's an unmotorized division. If I assign a logistics general to corps level and replace Reinhard, let's do Strekius, and then click on 41st again. We'll see that they use 0.1 supplies less. And, you know, that doesn't seem like a big difference, but that's true for all 5 divisions now. So that does make a difference when you're all the way out in central Russia and you're not getting many supplies to begin with. So we'll leave Strekius here. It's good for him to get experience too. And it's often those infantry divisions that are the first to run out of supplies, so that'll be beneficial no matter what. Okay, we got some more divisions coming out. This is 46. This division has a moniker. We are going to delete that. I like to actually give divisions monikers, but I feel like they need to be earned. So, you know, if a division, you know, is outstanding in battle in a particularly important place and time, I'll sometimes give them a moniker. You can roleplay that however you want. To each their own. This is a simulation anyway, so we can do what we want. Fürstein, and then let's create the 10th Corps. We'll give Wagger the Corps command, and they're assigned to 4th Army, so cool. All right. We still have a zinc surplus, that's great. I mean, we have 2 zinc mines, so of course we do. Let's check our decisions and see if there's anything interesting. Railway 3, we want that. That's it. We can get a mountain brigade right now. It's not really a complete division. I usually just say no to that. I'm going to build them ourselves. Okay, we get the benefits from that railroad upgrade. We are really putting out those infantry divisions now. Okay, 47th. You can see these old guard generals are very useful in defensive battles, but they have an attack speed and experience gain and an offense debuff, basically. So I'm not interested in having these guys in standard infantry divisions. I do create basically fortress, like garrison divisions later on, especially in France, and their whole job is to just hold a port town or a specific fortification. They're not designed to move, so those divisions benefit from generals like this. Okay, let's get these assigned out. This is 48th. Okay, we're running out of level 3 generals, and I want to save a few for corps, so I'm going to start putting in level 2 generals into these divisions. They'll level up pretty quick in combat. They should all get to level 3 just from Poland alone, so not too worried about that. Well, the Polish army has a good habit of just disintegrating almost right away, so sometimes we don't get as much experience as we wish we did. But we will in France, and we definitely will in Russia. Light armor designs, light bomber prototype. Okay. William Messerschmitt, genius. So let's pull out our let's start creating some light bomber groups, because we're kind of running low on Stukas anyway, so we're gonna be using these light bombers in place of Stukas in some cases. So light bomber, so we're calling our medium bombers KG groups. These are going to be LG. So LG1. Oh, whoops. These are still using ancient Junkers designs for bombing, which is crazy. I mean, they're half acceptable transports. That's about it. We'll check our air technologies in a second and see what we're actually going to get when they finish upgrading. Okay, we will assign these tank buster generals to these roles. We'll go Frolik, and we'll put these guys in Starsguard. Okay, and then let's check what we're actually going to get out of those. Okay, Dornier Doe 17s. These are pretty early models of the Dornier Doe. We're still using HE-111Es for the medium bombers. And then we don't have heavy bombers. Okay, still got a long way to go on our fighter and bomber technologies. And speaking of that, let's add fuel tank and airframe. Cool. Let's turn off these 1939 techs. They can wait a little bit longer. And we'll throw in naval bomber, because we are going to be building some of those for Norway and the Mediterranean. Let's throw in, I guess it's got to be a rank 2 general. So this is another cool one, engineer river attack. So we won't have enough of these generals to cover all river attacks, but we can try to spearhead river attacks with divisions that have engineer generals. So we'll have to remember that 50th Infantry has a good river crossing ability. Okay, we're getting a little bit inefficient on some technologies here. We'll upgrade our destroyers when they're 38 spec. Industry. We got improved coal liquefaction. Armament and infantry. Armaments. Okay, so we're running out of... We actually have free technology slots, so let's get these submarine techs started. Plenty of those to go. And then let's check destroyers are good, transport's good, cruisers. Still waiting on this hull shape optimization. That's just going really slow. It's a shame. It's holding us back here. Okay. we'll go war economy on January 1st, 1939. We are recruiting a lot of officers, but we're also producing a lot of infantry divisions, so we're going to have to be okay with a subpar ratio for a little bit. Destroyer class. Okay, that's good. Let's just check that real quick. What level destroyer do we get? 38 Bs. Okay, that's the bare minimum that I'm okay with. So let's get ahead. Let's go ahead and start the retraining on these. Right now they're 34s, and they look honestly like World War I era destroyers. And then we're also going to add 4. Let's add another 3 new destroyers to the production. Yeah. High density alloys. Okay, armor piercing capped is pretty important. Let's check that out. Armor piercing capped, improved type of AT shell with added cap made of softer alloy to improved grip on armor plates, reducing chance of bouncing off the armor. So this is the cap, this darker section, and it's soft metal that'll sort of hug the metal that it's engaged with and maybe allow this harder core steel projectile to actually penetrate the armor. So that gives us piercing attack for all of our main armored units. Let's make sure that that gets researched. Okay, our last factories are finishing up, along with a fighter. I believe that fighter is also going down here. Okay, we're at an uneven number of fighters. Let's just add one more to the top. Okay, air engine research. Let's make sure we get started on these a little early. I'm always behind on these, so I'm trying to be better about that this playthrough. Close air support and fighter bombers. We'll start making fighter bombers before Barbarossa, though we don't need them right now. We'll do small caliber tank cannons, tank destroyer, and armored cars. And then we'll do range finding equipment and artillery stuff also. Cool, that should be good for now. Portugal wants to buy destroyers. Let's see where Portugal is in the... They're drifting toward us, so there's a good chance we'll be able to invite them to the Axis. So we'll take a gamble and we'll say, yeah, they can produce those destroyers. There's our medium armor. So we go from very early model Mark IIIs to Mark 3D, which is definitely better. I think that's mostly just a slight armor panel upgrade to the front of the tank. The gun is the same. Okay, Königsberg's factory's done. And then yet more infantry coming out. More command structure stuff. I think that's the blitzkrieg part of it. Oh yeah, we're still behind on these. It's interesting that they're so low year level right off the bat. Let's get ground and tactical attack focus added, and then armored spearhead, sphere-punked, advanced training centers, and elastic defense. We'll bump all those to the top. Okay, our armored cars are almost done. Yeah, they're done. Okay, let's get these added to our Panzer divisions. Great, now we have fully functioning combined arms bonuses. Four and 5. Great. And we're getting a lot of these other technologies upgraded now, so these divisions are getting way better pretty quickly here. Start another corps, so this will be 51st. We'll do another river crossing specialist, and we'll get a new corps started. This will be 11th Corps. We'll give this corps to Lindemann, and we'll attach it to 4th Army. Oops, I accidentally made another army. Just delete that. Okay, the 4-year plan continues. We gain industry and armaments factories for the loss of some materials. Absolutely worth it. Another one of these SS groups, we'll delete that. Infantry, standard infantry, great. What does that bring us to? Not a whole lot different. That's fine. Okay. The Red Air Force is purged. Okay, sucks for them. Oh wait, we get 2 more divisions. Let's put those right there. So this is 52nd. Do some attacking specialists. Knight's Cross is pretty good too, actually. I sort of ignored that. We'll do this guy. That sounds good to me. Capital ship shipyards. We're not making too many capital ships, but that's okay. I'll take the factory, it's free. Small arms, okay, we're getting some other decisions based on how many factories we have. Sweden is aligning it to our faction, aligning itself to our faction. 54. Okay, 4th Army is coming along. Light infantry, mountain infantry, great. Okay, let's throw in some mountain divisions into queue. The order is a little bit screwed up. We can already make pack artillery, that's great. And we need anti-tank. Pretty much every division needs anti-tank capability, otherwise it's going to get rolled right over. And I don't mean that lightly in any context where we're fighting the Soviets. You gotta have piercing attack, otherwise these divisions will be essentially worthless. We're just going to add 2 right now, because they're not going to really be done anytime soon anyway. Okay, great. There's our hull shape optimization. Been waiting on that, along with supercharger. Let's go get these 39 light cruiser and heavy cruiser practicals going. Or not practicals, technologies going. And I think that's going to be it. I don't want to devote any more research to cruisers. Okay. Let's bump these radar dishes down. I want to get those destroyers started. Another armored HQ. That's the army group. I think we get army and... Is it Corps and Army commands, or is it just... No, yeah, we get both. Okay, let's disconnect these. This will be our first Panzer Army, and it's going to be given to von Magestein, and it'll be part of our Eastern group. And they're going to be down south in Breslau. I've noticed it's easier to push in this area south of Warsaw than it is up north. Okay. Another submarine's done. Okay, this is our second ocean-going submarine group. A little bit behind on subs too. We'd like to have more than this by the time the war starts, but I never have enough. So we'll give it to Otto Kretschmer. He's a famous submarine general or commander. We do have these coastal subs. I did say that I would retrain them before the war. We'll see if we have the IC available for that. I believe we might be able to fully annex Czech Republic any day now. It doesn't look like it. It looks like it's hard-coded to October 1st, so we're just going to have to wait another 15 days or so. Party Congress. It's worth it for the Nazi Party popularity increase, and we also get some industry in those cities. So, say yes. Cool, we're up to 325. Let's check our party popularity. It's still about 15%. I'm not sure what these internal factors are, but it doesn't matter because there's no elections. Okay, air liaison increase, it's a Blitzkrieg thing. Let's get those started. Okay. Let's pull out another group of... Oh, we actually do have a full group of Stukas. Interesting. So these guys will be Sturmkampfgeschwader. I think that's what that stands for. These guys will be... I want to be tank busters for sure. Alexander Lore. And then let's get these assigned out names. We'll put these guys in Stettin. Oh, that's a bummer. Yeah, see, these two brigades that are air groups that came from decisions are not increasing in strength. So we're gonna have to delete those because they're just gonna stay bugged the rest of the game. That's a bummer. It's just something to do with the way BICE puts units into the game. Okay, we got more light bombers. These are incomplete groups though, so I'll leave those over there. We're going to actually assign these to the Eastern Command just so they're a little bit easier to see when the war starts, along with our medium bomber groups. We're still seriously lacking fighters. Got to fix that. Move these radar dishes down. I'm just going to actually add another group of fighters since that's how far behind we are. Along with this transport plane that can wait. We get a decision to feed the poor, and then we get our 1,000-pound bombs. Let's clean up our technology. Start those 39 ones next year. Artillery, aircraft systems, and avionics. Okay, self-sealing tanks is 1940 spec. That's 1939 spec, I think, actually. That's good. And then what was the remainder? Avionics. Bombing site, cool. We'll get these radar technologies when our base radar ability finishes upgrading. Okay, this general can just be a level 2. And then we're going to finish up the video here because we're over an hour. Let's get this last core completed. They'll just be on the Czech border. We can move them around when we finish the annexation of Czechoslovakia. 57, 58. And this will be 12th Corps. I'd like there to be, oh yeah, Reinhard. Okay, cool. He's assigned. Let's get him in 4th Army. Okay, I think there's just 2 more divisions to go before we're done with that. Yeah, these 2. We got our mountain divisions started, at least our first 2. We got some destroyers and destroyer retraining going on. Still got some subs coming out. Our last factory's done. We got our practical fighter and medium bomber builds still coming out. And we're short on fighters, so we'll have 2 more groups, I believe. The next 2 groups go up in North Germany, and then we're going to try to get 2 more out before the Polish campaign starts to cover the east of the country. And our fighter practical is not great, but not bad at 8.8, so we're doing okay there. Our tank and motorized are staying pretty stable. Infantry is really good. Our ship practicals are low. Submarine is just okay. But I think overall our research and production practicals are doing all right. It's late 1938, so we still got about a little bit less than a year before the war starts. So with that, thank you for watching, and if you liked, as usual, hit the like button. I really appreciate it. Channel's just getting started out, so every like makes a big difference, and I will see you next time.